Buenos dias, dear formators, mi hermanos y hermanas. Happy to meet you, our dear Ateneo formators. Brother Bok and Brother Jeff asked me to share something about the Ignatian Examen and how is it relevant to us now in the situation of the pandemic and our super extended lockdown lives. I think that we can look at the Ignatian Examen in a special way during this very critical period. No? It helps us deal with a situation that is very new, very unprecedented. We are experiencing a global health emergency for the first time. And in our lives here in Zamboanga, we are grappling with it, trying to understand it, trying to cope with it, trying to adjust to it. And the Examen can help us handle the situation. Our reactions to the situation are new. Our thoughts as well can be so confused, and our responses can be so unpredictable and unclear. Hence, all the more, we need a structure to track down our thoughts, our feelings, a structure for reflection and prayer, and precisely the Ignatian prayer of the Examen, it can provide such a structure. For one thing, if you will notice during this pandemic, our feelings and thoughts have been erratic. It can be up and down, unstable. One day we feel okay, the next day we feel not okay. One day we feel assured and consoled. The next day we feel anxious and afraid, scared of many things, of our health, of our loved ones, health and welfare, our future, our jobs, our income, our families, everything is something that is beyond our control. So therefore, our feelings and thoughts can tend to be so complex. The Examen helps structure this if we do this regularly by looking at what is it that we should be grateful for, what are the things we are sorry about, and what are the things we can be hopeful. So that's one thing. Another thing is the Examen can help us find God. Oftentimes in this pandemic, we search for God. We ask, is God present? Is God here caring for us? What is God doing in this very difficult situation? What is God doing as I go through my own suffering, as the whole world goes through its own suffering? Where is He in a very uncertain, unpredictable future? The Examen can be assuring because the Examen can say, God is present despite the uncertainty. He is active and He remains loving. So we know the structure. We see how God moves on a day-to-day basis, each moment, how He loves us, how He embraces us, how He challenges us. So the Examen provides for such realization that God is there and we can find Him in all things, as our Ignatian spirituality teaches us. And lastly, the pandemic and the lockdown life that we have is something that we need to cope with. And one way of coping with it, as the spiritual traditions teach us, is to live a day at a time. This is not the time to plan out very clear things in our future because of the very fluid situation of our future. We are asked that live a day at a time, be grateful for each day, and hope for the next day. So I think the daily Examen precisely provides that structure of gratitude, of learning, and of anticipation and hope. So I think that is how the Examen is a very crucial, helpful way of praying in a situation like the pandemic. And I hope that in the Ateneo, we can deepen our practice of the Examen. And at the same time, as Ateneo formators, you can help others, our students, your fellow colleagues, on how precisely to hold on to a prayer like the Examen in a very unstable life that we have now of the pandemic and lockdown. So thank you, my dear formators, and all the best. Keep safe, and God bless.